A king once forced a man to test his own torture machine, and the screams coming out of it didn't sound human anymore. In ancient Greece, there lived a ruler named Phalaris. He wasn't just feared, he was known across the land as a monster. Phalaris loved power, but even more than power, he loved fear. Executions weren't enough for him anymore. He wanted something worse, something people would never forget. And that's when a man named Phalaris of Athens arrived at his palace. Phalaris was a skilled inventor from Athens, but he wasn't there to help people. He came for money, and he believed he had created the perfect invention to impress the cruel king. What Phalaris brought to the palace would become one of the most horrifying punishments in history. Covered under a giant cloth stood a massive bronze bull, life-sized, beautiful from the outside, but inside, completely hollow. Phalaris smiled proudly as he explained his invention. A prisoner will be locked inside the bull. Then a fire would be lit underneath it. Slowly, the bronze would heat up, turning the entire statue into an oven. The victim trapped inside would burn alive. But the worst part was what happened to the screams. Phalaris had designed special pipes inside the bull's head. As the victim screamed in agony, their voice would travel through the tubes and come out sounding like the roar of an angry beast. Not a human, a monster. But Phalaris' next decision changed Phalaris' life forever. The king stared silently at the bull, walking around it slowly, touching the bronze, examining every detail. Phalaris expected applause, gold, maybe even a place beside the king himself. Instead, Phalaris looked directly at him and said, "Get inside." Phalaris froze. He laughed nervously, thinking the king was joking, but the guard stepped forward. The inventors suddenly realized something terrifying. The king wanted to test it on him. And what happened next became legendary across ancient Greece. The guards shoved Phalaris into the hollow bowl. The heavy bronze door slammed shut. Darkness. Then, the sound of wood being stacked underneath him. Phalaris screamed for mercy. He begged to be released. But outside, Phalaris calmly nodded his head, and the fire was lit. At first, the metal grew warm, then hotter and hotter. Soon, the inside of the bull became unbearable. Phalaris started screaming in pure agony, and exactly as he promised, his invention worked perfectly. The pipes twisted his cries into deep animal roars. The entire courtyard echoed with the terrifying sound of the bronze bull. The king sat there listening, while the inventor screamed inside his own creation. But the ending of the story is even darker than the bull itself. According to legend, Phalaris eventually opened the bull before Phalaris died completely. Burned, broken, barely alive. The man who invented the machine became its very first victim. For years after that, the Brazen Bull became a symbol of terror in ancient Greece. Enemies of the king were locked inside it, their screams transformed into horrifying roars. But history has a strange sense of justice. Years later, the people finally rebelled against Phalaris, and according to legend, they executed the cruel king using the same bronze bowl he once used on others. The monster died inside his own monster. Sometimes, the most terrifying inventions in history don't destroy strangers first. They destroy their creators.